Hello, welcome to another episode of Horticulture and Homes. Today I'm going to be making some lemon curd, and I'm going to process this and can it with a water bath canner. Behind me on the stove I have my jars and hot water on the stove so that they'll be nice and hot and sterilized. And here on the counter I have some water heating up, and this is going to be the base of my double boiler. And the recipe that I'm using today comes from the National Center for Home Food Preservation website, and I'll give you the link where you can find this recipe. Okay. So I've got everything getting hot. I have my rings and lids over here also getting hot on low heat. And I have 7 egg yolks and 4 whole eggs, these are large eggs, in a bowl, and I'm going to mix these up. And just a little while ago I took my sugar and my lemon zest and mixed those together so that the oils from the lemon zest will start to flavor that sugar. And I have some lemon juice over here. And then I have my butter, my cold butter cut up into chunks. So let's get started. First I'm going to whisk the eggs. Then I'm going to place this into my double boiler so this can begin to get hot. I'm going to slowly add my sugar and incorporate that into my egg mixture. I'm really not looking into beating a lot of air into this. I just want it to incorporate well. So little by little I'm going to add my sugar and mix. I'll come back when I finish this step. Alright, now that I have my sugar and lemon zest incorporated into my egg mixture, I'm going to begin to add my lemon juice. And if you notice, I've not added any food coloring to this, but this is a deep, rich, golden yellow color. That's because of the type of eggs that I'm using. A free-range egg will have a much darker, deeper yolk. This mixture is loosened up a lot because the sugar is beginning to melt. And I did not use a superfine sugar. I just placed my sugar into a food processor to break it down a little bit so that it would melt quickly and dissolve. Actually, dissolves. Now that my lemon juice has been added, I'll slowly add my cold butter. I'm just going to put in a few pieces at a time. And let that slowly melt. This will take a little while. So while I'm incorporating the butter, I'll take a little break and come right back. My butter is now all melted and incorporated into the lemon curd. And I'm just going to slowly stir. It's just beginning to thicken just a little bit. This is something you need to stay with, you can't walk away from, and you need to constantly stir so that it doesn't stick or scorch. And I have my instant read thermometer ready here. You could also use a candy thermometer. You have to get this to the right temperature. And you also need to follow the directions very carefully, because with all of the egg in this mixture, you have to have enough acidity to keep this shelf stable. So follow those directions exactly to the letter, and when you go to can it also. I also have a Pyrex bowl and a strainer ready, because once this mixture has gotten to the proper temperature and thickened up, I will strain it to get out the little bits of lemon zest, and there may also be some bits of egg that aren't completely broken down. So we want this to be a nice smooth consistency when we're finished. So I'll keep stirring this, and I'll come back in just a little while when this thickens up. Okay, my lemon curd has reached the temperature of 170 degrees on my instant read thermometer, and so I can take this and strain it now. It's very hot, you have to be really careful. See how pretty and yellow this is? It's just beautiful. While I'm doing this, I wanted to talk a little bit about zesting your lemon. And if you don't have a microplane, I suggest that you find one if you use a lot of citrus, because this is so much better than the old-fashioned way of zesting a lemon, because you get just the very yellow part of the lemon, you don't get the white pithy part, and it works very, very nicely. Works great for shaving chocolate. So if you don't have one of these, you can go buy one. This one's kind of neat. It has a little trough, hooks on here, and then I can zest right here, tap it, and dump it right out the end. What I normally see, I've had this one for quite a while, when they first came out. In fact, my husband had the first microplane that I had seen, because it started out as a woodworking tool. But a lot of the microplanes that I see now have, they're just the stainless steel microplane itself, and then it's attached to a handle. But they work really great. So if you don't have one, go ahead and try and find one. Okay, I have this strained out pretty well. All I have now are some of the little bits of white from the egg. You know, that part that's usually attached to the yolk. I can see some of that in here. And then my lemon zest is here. So let me get all of that zest off of my spatula. Turn this so you can see it. And I'll just scrape this extra off here. Now, it's only recommended that you keep this for about 3 or 4 months. Once you see a discoloration in the curd, or if you see that it's beginning to separate and get watery, then it would be time to get rid of it and not use it. Now, I have kept it longer than that, and it still be beautiful and have good color. There really weren't any air bubbles for me to worry about because this was the perfect consistency. So I'm just going to add my lids and rings. And it's important that you have the water in your water bath canner the proper temperature for this to process correctly. So you do also have to check the water of your canner. And you basically want your mixture of your curd to be about the same temperature as your hot water, or it could be a little bit less. Otherwise, if you have your water too hot, this will not process correctly and you could have a problem. Okay, I'm just adding my last jar into the canner. And I have a water bath canner, but I really don't need to get it out for this process. I've been pressure canning, so I'm just using the base of my pressure canner. And then I'm going to use this glass lid for my large stock pot, or I could go get my water bath canner lid and use that as a lid. So I'm going to let this process for the proper amount of time for my altitude. Just check your charts and read your directions properly. And I'll be back when it's time to remove this. Have to let this water reach boiling temperatures. When it begins to boil, then I'll begin to time it. Okay, now you can see that I'm at a full rolling boil. So now I'm going to set my timer for processing. And it's recommended that this process for 15 minutes for 1,000 feet or below in altitude, 1,001 to 6,000 feet 20 minutes, and above 6,000 feet 25 minutes. Well, I've removed my jars from the canner and now I'm waiting for them to seal. I've had one seal. Now I have to wait for the other 3 to seal. I'll let these sit overnight. There's the second one. And then I'll come back tomorrow and I'll remove the rings, wipe the top of the jar down, and I'll label the jar.